Hello, I'm Aviax, my cat, and good morning, everybody. Today I am in Minecraft because 1.21 is just 13 days away, and you know what? It's making me realize that I'm unprepared in quite a few ways. One of the things I've been doing is getting my hands on a lot of blaze rods. This is something which is fairly easy to do. Whenever I'm working on something that's going to take about 20 minutes, I leave the PC open, and this many blazes will spawn, which has also been healing up my tools kind of handily, which means I'll be ready for any big new thing that 1.21 throws at me. However, also at the exact same time as getting those blaze rods, so I can make some copper bulbs, will be a lot of fun. I'm also starting to realize that I need to finish up all of the other projects in this world, and also help the navigation of it, because that is something that's important. And so that is what I did with my Nether map system earlier on the week. As you can see, looking fairly decent. If you understand my Nether, and I'd understand it from this diagram alone, you did not, but just looking at this diagram, I can know exactly which directions I need to go to get to certain places, and I can also write down if I find, say, a trial chamber, where I have to go to find a portal, which will link me right there. This is going to be very exciting, and yeah, this is very exciting, I'll say. It's going to be very fun to look through after the update, and it's kind of part of my big strategy of, you know, things like that. So on Thursday, yesterday, I completed, or turned into a semicircle at least, my giant Nether tunnel, and so now I've got to do other things which will help out my world. There are two big ones that come to mind. There are two big things that are on my to-do list that I've been sitting on forever, but really should get round to about now. One of those things is my Nether highway system. Here is what it looks like right now. As you can see, there's deliberately no roof here so that I can start flying through it. But I have a highway system which was kind of just set up as like a, let's build it this way and see what I feel like going for more than anything else. And it means that the actual stuff that I found is actually to the right over here. So after a little bit of a straight stretch forwards, it goes rightwards over here, and then from this right tunnel, I hope, there we go, it's right over here, there is in fact a big stone pathway again. However, this isn't actually very efficient. I think that I could make this much better by actually making this slow and gradual. Rather than being a right angle that connects over there, instead I can make it a diagonal sort of angle that goes in this direction instead. That could also be quite lovely. Or I could make things even easier than that. Did I just get some free Netherrack? Thank you, Ghast. How kind of you. But yeah, instead of that, I think it would be worth to go for some things. By the way, happy birthday to Aroda, and ever indeed.
Hey today.
Happy birthday.
Hope you're doing well today. What are your thoughts on the new Netflix series? I definitely think it's the weird collab in a while.
Okay, I have some thoughts on the Netflix series actually. So I don't, you know, most people would just accept like, oh, they're working on something, I'll watch it when it's coming out. But when I heard what the studio behind it had done, all those Netflix exclusives, I was curious because I feel like, you know, from whether it's a game studio or, you know, when you have a company that has a body of work, it gives you a good idea of what they like to produce. They're going to make things in the same, you know, at least comfort style that they've made before. And so what I found to be hugely interesting was looking up Sonic Prime. That is basically the same people making the Minecraft Netflix show made a Sonic show. And I watched it and I was like, okay, so they did a really good job at not doing the thing where they spend 30 minutes or an hour or the whole series introducing characters, which you would know if you just played the games. It's such an easy trap to fall into, in my opinion. They didn't fall into that trap, which is very, very good, in my opinion. Yeah, so they managed to, like, get into things in the first, like, 10 seconds. They're already making, like, fun little references to stuff that you like if you got the show. And then also I feel like it didn't go over the top, like, oh, I'm going to talk to you like you are a 5-year-old dog with mental issues. Oh, this is the way that... You know, I feel like there's a whole genre of YouTuber like that too. But, like, and you know, so clearly... I think it must be effective, but even when I was there's this problem of making content for children, right? Is some children, you know, some children must like it. It's got to be successful for a reason. But if you make content aimed at children, then only some children like it. A lot of people, it's cool to act older than your age when you're young. So some children will like it, and some children will dislike it, and everyone else will roll their eyes and go, oh, don't do this again. And yeah, I was worried they would do that, but no, I feel like they're going to pull it off. Obviously, it's not going to be aimed at you if you're a 35-year-old, you know, whatever, but it's not going to be not aimed at you, which is, in my opinion, a very big deal. I think there's it's a very, very important thing. So, do you have a very flammable cherry bridge on your map? I do. I'm thinking of coating it in something, but I don't know what I could do to actually make it any better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. I'm going to get some stone, by the way. Or maybe get something else to make some elytra rings for my nether. Because I feel like those are going to be useful. I'm going to get some big, pretty blocks. Honestly, stone will work just fine. Or actually, I seem to be using deep slate to make elytra and stuff. So I'll make a stone regular path. And then, yeah, that's what we'll do. Also cover it in pink glass. Yeah, I was thinking, like, I wish that I could, like, honeycomb... Oh. Well, this is not meant to look like this. I wish you could, like, honeycomb a block to prevent it catching fire in the nether. It's a very bad idea, but it's a thing regardless. Today, I felt special. So many handshakes. Congratulations on the handshakes, I wrote it. Happy adult day. Is what I can only assume that means. Okay, so I'm now going to put my blaze rods away. In case you're curious as to how serious I take my preparation for the copper bulbs, one of the most expensive items, this is how serious. Some would say too serious. Some would say not serious enough. So I think I'm really bridging the divide there, right down the middle. And yeah, now we can finally put the glow squids away in here, glowing sacks at least. And also probably combine the fletching table things together. So yeah, let's go back. Let's get some deep slate, and then also get a few stone bricks. Like realistically, we'll just take a whole chest or a whole shulker box full of stone bricks. Always feels like that is the correct number. And then we'll put this shulker box away somewhere. Yeah, this seems like a great place for this shulker box. And then we'll use this one for things we pick up later. Is this deep slate or blackstone? Glad that it's blackstone. That is a sign things are working correctly. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of deep slate tiles sitting in this chest, but I'll be using deep slate bricks mostly, so I'll just grab that many of them, and that should allow me to achieve my dreams. So hey Toycat, any thoughts on the new Lena Raine game? Oh, I haven't heard about it actually. Did you like Telltale Minecraft Story Mode? No, I felt like it had the same problem. I actually do understand the difficulty. So I come at this from the other angle, right? I think that, by the way, but it's good to see you, Sophie Hawkins, very early on in the stream today, you know, but early tax, am I right? But the really interesting thing, about trying to make content that's for everyone, you know, but you might call it like content for the whole family or whatever you want to say, but like, that's how you make things that are widely successful. It's easy to make things that small groups of people like. It's hard to make things that lots of people from different ages can like, right? And so I know how hard that is because I come at it from a kind of a different angle. In the Minecraft space, I feel like adults are always my priority demographic. Like I'm gonna talk to people like you're real human beings, and if you are too young to see that as being spoken to you, that's okay. You know, like it's that's my like genuine take on it. Like it's like you can at some point you'll age into the point where it makes sense to you, whereas it'd be worse to be the type of person who ages out of watching a type of content, as I'm sure so many people feel about so many YouTubers that they used to watch. Okay, so now we're gonna go this way, and we're gonna make a big old deep slate brick hole in this. I want to make it very clear, and I might even just have to mine this out of here. Yeah, let's just do that. I've got a big pickaxe, and I've got a lot of need for netherrack. I'm sure you all know why. So let's just mine this all apart, and then let's replace it with a big pile of deep slate bricks to make a ring that should be very obvious for me. So, yeah, I think it's going to be bullet hell genre. I'm not sure. That's like one of my least favorite genres. The concept of shooting games, you know, like the 2D ones, literally has zero appeal to me in general. I know that's not what bullet hell is, but I wanna rant about it right now anyway. That like, there are some genres that are just so good to the right person and just, I don't know, not great to everyone else. I didn't know elytras could make you crawl through one block spaces. Yeah, they're very handy for that actually. Okay, so now we'll make this into a big elytra ring. So we'll just start over here. We can make it like go round this stuff right here. So this will be the floor, obviously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we'll have like a couple blocks out to the side like this. And then a couple blocks, maybe just one block, and then a couple blocks going up. And then 7 blocks going this way, so we'll remove all of these blocks now. Pro tip. And then also probably, I think there was an extra one over there somewhere. Oh no, it's not. It's that. This is what I have to do. I have to remove this block, not the top one. But yeah, basically the goal here is just to make it very clear for future me, like, oh yeah, where the deep slate rings are, that's where you've got to fly. Even when you're on a low render distance, you should be able to see everything. And it's cool, because I usually design stuff like this with future me in mind, like, you know, the future me being someone who is very ignorant and forgot what past me was going for. But I think it's kind of cool, because it might actually help out. Oh, okay, so this only goes up to here. What I think is cool about it is it might actually help someone out who, like, downloads the world or something for the first time, doesn't necessarily know what's going on, and can be like, oh, yeah, I'll fly through the rings. That will take me somewhere exciting. I think accidentally designing in a way that is useful to people who haven't experienced something before is always a big plus. I can't come up with YouTube videos of things like I like to, but they talk to you like you're a 2-year-old, hence why I enjoy your videos/streams. Thank you. I'm glad that people do appreciate my approach. Again, I understand why commercially a lot of, you know, studios have to not take that approach. Like, there's a huge underserved market of children. But, like, all the most successful kid shows are the ones that do manage to actually discuss important stuff at the same time as being good kid shows, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's being something that everyone likes is hard. You know, there's that phrase about you can please all of the people all of the time. And the truth is you can't please any of the people any of the time. And you can make one person happy for 10 seconds, then maybe that should be enough. I'm pretty sure that's how the quote goes. Anyway, so I think I made some mistake here. This must be slightly too tall, or the other one is too short. In either case, we'll fix it quite easily. So we'll place a block there, and then we'll have to place a block there, and then remove both of these. And then this should... Okay, place one here, and we're just going to place... How do I place a deep slate block on the other side of this besides just... Nah, yeah, that works. That works quite easily, actually. Should have thought about that a while ago. And then place one here, and then 1, 2, and we've got a mistake, but it's fine. Perfect. Okay, no issues here that I can spot. And we just have to make sure we look at it, and it looks like a ring. Yeah, it looks close enough to being a ring. It looks like a very ugly ring, I've got to say. Something looks horribly, horribly, horribly wrong there. But, you know, that's what success is. Success is when things look bad, in my humble opinion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make this thicker, and I think I might make it a big square.
Nice to be here earlier for once. Embarrassed smiley face. Joys of finishing college early. What are your thoughts on the new 4J game, and do you wish you were more of a part of it?
So that is an interesting question, right? I think, I wondered if, something I really only thought about after the whole thing came out, right? I will try to... Oh, wait, this is... Something's gone horribly wrong here, chat. Oh, I see what went wrong. I went out too many blocks. Okay, I can fix this. I can fix this. I see what I did wrong here. I'm gonna fix it. Yeah, so... Here's the thing, right? If I had spent a lot of... If I had made my own pitch, either, you know, could be working on some new 4J game, you know, I could be working as a game developer right now, is what I'm saying, right? Like, and that's a really interesting idea, because every YouTuber has this same thought that, like, yeah, at some point, people stop caring. It is a universal piece of fact in this industry. And so, a lot of people are looking for that way to, like, parlay, you know, that YouTube success into the next thing. And so, you know, like, maybe you're thinking, like, on an emotional level, like, oh, yeah, I bet you, do you not wish that maybe you jumped aboard this for that reason? But even though I think I have, like, even though I love the idea of game design, it's one of the things that me and Oraf love to talk about. Like, it is a really, really interesting topic, in my humble opinion. But even though I love to talk about game design, I love the idea behind it, I don't actually think that I want to be on that end of things yet. I really, really, really love what we do here on YouTube. And I think that the right opportunity to make, or, you know, be a part of the game in that way, isn't with this. I think, especially, like, you know, having multiple people, I think one of the things I really like about YouTube is you get to create a vision and then execute on it. And it's, you know, when it goes well, it's great. It's on you, and when it goes poorly, it's kind of on you. I really appreciate the independence that YouTube gives me. And so working for a company, even one quite prestigious that made a game that defined my childhood, isn't something I'm happy with right now. I think I'd be flattered. I think I would, you know, like, I think I'd take on some, like, consulting role of some generic description if I was really begged to. But let's be honest, that's not what's going to happen right there. You need people who are able to dedicate their full everything in it. And right now, I like dedicating a large amount of my time to my, you know, realistically, my YouTube channels. But, you know, this YouTube is a large focus of my time in Minecraft and creatively, etc. And maybe at some point that changes or whatever. But right now, I think things are pretty good. So, yeah, I think, I think it would be cool, but also not a good fit for me. You know, it's such a weird thing to say, like, about basically anything. There are lots of really cool dream situations out there, right? I guess it's like asking, you know, if someone has a... Like, imagine asking your dad why it is that he's not dating a supermodel. Like, you know, I've looked at, and now that I am of age where I can have my own attractions, I've noticed that you say that you should always try to achieve the best, but I've noticed that, you know, I've noticed our mother is only somewhat attractive. It looks like you settled, and you're always telling me precisely not to do that. But what am I meant to believe when you're actually doing it? You know, it's like, well, probably a bit of a weird thing to, you know, like, there is always, you know, the phrase "plenty of fish in the sea." People use that as a way to help newly single people. It's also, you know, also, why do I have snow on me? I'm gonna have to do something with this. But, yeah, oh, this is really misaligned now. Okay, I'm just gonna keep making this more sideways until it lines up with the center of this portal over here. Yeah, this should be the logical end right here. Also, finally catching a live stream from you. So cool, says Wasabi. You're welcome. I'm glad to see you here. I hope that you're doing wonderfully, Mr. Wasabi. Is there anything that you've wanted to ask but you couldn't because it's not been live? If so, Wasabi, I'd love to know what it is. I can definitely imagine having the freedom to succeed or fail would be better than deciding to go under a more structured company. Yeah, I'm excited to see where 4J go, and I'm excited, hopefully, to get to see some of the stuff along with it. You know, like, there's been talks about seeing what they're working on soon, that I have some high curiosity levels about, to say the least. Yeah, okay, so I think we stack that up an extra block. Yeah, this is what we want to do. Make it look just a little bit more like a real staircase. Hopefully, we can pull that off. So here, up to there, and then, oh yeah, this is messy. So up to there, and then up to there, and then that goes up a few blocks, and we just keep doing this until it vaguely looks like a real staircase. Yep, looks fine to me. Then we're going to avoid this lava. Don't ask me how, but we are. And then, yeah, this is close enough to good, I think. If we just put some... I think we should extend all of this going this way, a few extra blocks, before putting rails on this side. It will lead me into the lava, but that's a problem for future me to deal with. Oh, future me is here dealing with the lava. And then we'll keep on bridging that way a little bit until we get to the very, very edge. At which point the two things connect, and there we go. That Ghast is a little bit scary. You gotta say, don't like what he's doing right now. Also, good to see you, Lucy Ra. And I want to find Wasabi's message. Okay, he didn't leave one. Yeah, this is a funny thing that's happened a few times. I'll ask people. Wait, am I still streaming? I feel like Ghasts aren't meant to sit there that long. Okay, he's definitely alive, and that means I am too. So yeah, being able to decide your time and do something enjoyable and pays bills is the dream. Working for a company means putting in work doing random BS. Yeah, obviously, the more you prove yourself, the more companies will give you freedom to do your own thing within the company. You know, like, if you... you know, at least in an ideal world, obviously kind of varies based on the actual industry you're in. But a lot of, you know, if you're really, really good at your job, if you get the sales, if you work in sales and you get people to buy things, if you know, work in, if you work in legal contracts and you win your cases, when you work in a prestigious industry, let's say, or when you're very, very good at whatever it is that you do, you get much more freedom to pick your own hours that way. But at the same time, there is this sense of like, to me, again, just to my perspective here as an individual, is working on someone else's projects. You know, to me, the difference between being an employee and being working on your own stuff is whether you get to make your own successes or whether you're working on someone else's. And so it's, you know, like there are lots of cool things that are worth making, etc. But also at the same time, it's like, yeah, I really value being self-employed. I think the biggest benefits for working for a company for me would be the fact that I could start doing less work. But that's like basically saying like, yeah, working at a company to me is like an alternative to retiring. Also, isn't this fun? There are creepers that are spawning over here too. I could set up like a Nether creeper farm or something odd like that if I wanted to. Could set up a Nether mob farm of all sorts based on the zombies I'm seeing here. Very, 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 very weird, gotta say. So, yeah, in general, I think, you know, actually, chat, is there any questions? I gave Wasabi the opportunity to ask me a question, and he didn't take it. So I'll pass it off to anyone right here. If you're watching this stream right now, is there something you'd like to ask, but you know, is there something you'd like to ask, but you've been, you know, you feel like it's not been a good time, or you feel like, well, he's not going to answer that one. You can go over it right now. This is a good one. Also, what did you have for breakfast? Says Ruby likes Sonics too. Wow, there we go. That's a classic right there. Good place to start. Okay, there's a Wither skeleton. I think I might turn this Nether Fortress into something special. I feel like I should. Speaking of feeling like I should, thank you very much, Cornetio Di Malete. Do you think yearly updates and existing world support puts Mojang at a disadvantage because they can't do cool stuff with their engine like 4J? So, again, there's like, okay, so I think that one of the hardest things to do in games development, in development of anything, really. Also, have I opened this chest? I can't have. Oh. Chat, are you fascinated by what's in that chest? Good news if so, because I'm not going to open it. Future me can enjoy that bounty. But yeah, look at me getting some blaze rods in here by accident. So now I'm just going to mine everything in front of this to make the entrance to this Nether Fortress as clear as possible. By mining these extra blocks here. Actually, am I making it more accessible or less? You know, yeah, we'll mine all the blocks above me and just make it very, very clear for future me to be able to do stuff with it. It's sometimes useful to do stuff like this. Just a little favor to that guy. Sometimes he's nice. So, yeah, the chest there's 999 netherite you're missing out on, says Chaotic. Honestly, what would you even do if you found 999 netherite? Right? Like, that is an ungodly amount of time. But what value would it actually have for most people? I think I'd be surprised if the answer wasn't none for most people. I would be surprised. I would genuinely be quite surprised. If you do disagree with that, let me know. If you've got some grand idea that you've been dreaming of forever and you just want netherite to accomplish, then sorry for my assumption. I don't mean to make an ass of you and me. But yeah, okay, I think we've done a good enough job here. We'll mine out a few more blocks, because this doesn't really need to exist, and it definitely is blocking the view of the Nether Fortress at least. And yeah, I think it just looks kind of cool this way. So we'll keep digging out some extra blocks. Just really make this as visible as possible, because it makes the world look a little bit better when you can see stuff like this. Speaking of seeing stuff like this, let's get out of there. So now let's make some more elytra rings, because I need to make it very clear to future me exactly where to fly to get back and forth. So, oh, that was bad. Ooh, that was weird. Okay, over here. It looks as though this is probably the best way. So to the left of this? Yeah, right this way, weirdly enough. Or maybe this way, more realistically. So I can either dig through this to make a tunnel, or I can, like, remove some Netherrack over here, and then make a diagonal-looking ring this way. Yeah, that's what I think I should do. Diagonal-looking ring going over here. And then, so we'll build up so that I can see it from down here. Could make, like, just a few blocks. Just something as simple as, like, oh, did you know you can go up over this way? And then, yeah, we'll make it a 4x4 ring. Like, really, really, really most basic type of ring we can make is this 4 blocks. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it is. And then place 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then over here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Remove these 3 blocks, and we've got the basic of the basis of something that really sets the tone. This allows me down there to just be like, oh, there is a ring. Maybe I should fly through it. It's a little high up, but yeah, it's way too high up. Like, I'm gonna have to, like, if I try to fly through this, I'm gonna be like, which, to be fair, does the job well enough. But yeah, we want to set another ring up over here somewhere. Yeah, like somewhere over here. Just set up another ring to let me know I'm going in the right direction. I probably shouldn't need it, though. But if it's over there, it at least gives future me the idea of where I should be roughly. So just above this, I'll put a ring. Okay, lots of ghasts, but that's okay. I don't mind ghasts. Ghasts are not the bane of anyone's existence. Certainly not mine. Come attack me. See how that goes for you. Oh, yeah, pretty well, as it turns out. Let's just land on this successfully. Oh, not successfully. Ooh. Apparently successfully anyway. Finish off this ghast. If you come a little bit closer, there we go. Now we can make a ring over here. Make sure we can see that one in the distance. Yeah, if we make the ring just on the edge of this, we'll make it a little bit bigger. Things will be great. I fear the Nether only because of ghasts. Yeah, I was thinking today, so I posted a clip about a classic Bedrock moment. A classic Bedrock moment. If you saw it, chat, you'd agree. And one of the things that I said was this only happens when you play with sound turned off, or if you're not listening. It's a useful tip, I thought. I hope that it helps people. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But the interesting thing about it is that a lot of people said in response, well, I play with sound turned off, so am I just going to die? And it made me realize that, yeah, even if you don't die from a bedrock bug, which, you know, like, is seemingly the most frequent cause of death in that case. Okay, so now we're going to mine this block and mine that block, and that looks like a ring to me. It's got a few extra blocks in there, but that's fine. Okay, so now we just have to tell future me where to fly. After that ring, there's a very, very, very big ring this way. Yep, nice and easy. And then I follow these blocks. And we go this way, and then, yeah, there's pathways from here on out. I think they're made from blackstone and not deep slate. Yeah, they are. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, it is very interesting. So we'll place some extra blocks here and there just to keep things from... Okay. And then we'll head towards the very flammable Cherry Bridge, which is where I think I need to do something about this, chat. I just don't know what it is. Like, this thing will catch fire eventually, right? It's just a guarantee that at some point this whole thing will burn down. Oh, no, not right now. Not right now. I don't want it to burn down. Please don't shoot the fire at me. Is there a way to fireproof something in the Nether, chat? Like, besides putting glass around it, or, you know, like, physically separating it from fire, what is the best way to fireproof something? I'm just having a bad time with ghasts. Honestly, this is the universal truth of ghasts. No one ever comes into the Nether having a bad time. But yeah, if you have your sound turned off, you won't be able to hear, like, ghasts and creepers. As a pro tip, you want to be able to hear those things. When are you coming back to Detroit, Toycat? Can't believe I missed you. You know, I can believe you missed me. Yeah, I really like Detroit. There was a really fun church. That was a coffee shop. Like, they bought an old church. And there's just so much empty space between things in Detroit where, like, I don't know, there used to be houses and those houses collapsed. It's, like, it's something that doesn't happen in other, you know, like, very... Okay. It's something that doesn't really happen in other major countries because, you know, I know, like, the independence that the city has from the state, which then has from the country, means that you letting something that bad happen is almost unthinkable. But there's also something cool about that, like the, you know, we say this a lot in you know, and it seems weird to apply this to Detroit, but like diversity is something that creates strength. Is every bad example of something is just as useful as a good example of something. At least in my opinion. I think I'm gonna place down some cherry flowers here or something. I'm gonna go into the overworld, pick up some grass, just make this area look a little bit prettier, and also see what actually is in the Nether here. I think my Nether portal's in a cave. I hope I'm wrong about that. Oh yeah, no, I'm wrong. I must have fixed it. Perfect. But here you can see I've got a very lovely set of trapdoors. Why did I place these down, chat? What was I going for? Does anyone know? Anyway, I want to say that Toycat should go to the Eastern Europe anywhere except Greece. Wow, that's a very particular country to call out right there. Hope there are good reasons for that and not bad ones. Okay, I'm now going to grab my shears because these have, like, you know, they have mending on anyway, so I don't mind using them for silly stuff like this. And we're going to shear just a few extra blocks that we have lying around here. And we're going to use these along my nether floor. It's going to make the area just look a little bit prettier, in my humble opinion. There we go. Easily picked up. We've got 31 leaves. I think I could use a few more. So by just shearing these off the tops of the trees, we hopefully make things a little bit better. And also we make the biome look slightly less strange, which is something, you know, it's a small concern, but it is a concern. So yeah, this is a place that I might be coming a lot after 1.21. I don't know for sure, but I would theorize because so chat, I haven't been anywhere in that direction. I haven't been anywhere over there. I came to this place via a specific tiny narrow pathway, and then I never portaled in and out every other time. And this is a cherry grove biome that I destroyed. It's very nice. But yeah, so I think it's a fun little thing there. What if Mojang changed the creeper's noise? The creeper noise, I mean, I guess it wouldn't solve the fact that if you're playing with sound off, you wouldn't hear it. Doesn't matter how good a noise is, if you don't hear it, you don't hear it. But I assume your point actually was there to say. So yeah, we'll place a bunch of these around. Just make the area look a little bit prettier. Speaking of prettier, Cat Beanie says, "Happy birthday, Erodit." Happy birthday to Erodit. Happy birthday to Erodit. Happy birthday to Erodit. Happy birthday to Erodit. There we go. That's the best we're getting today. So yeah, chat. I have been thinking. You know, you never believe this, right? But I have been thinking about the idea of like shelf life on things. I mean, sort of in real life. I've been thinking about the apocalypse a lot. Maybe I'm sure we all have too, right? Like, you know, this is like the most popular genre of fiction for a reason. It's really cool to imagine a world where there's no people anymore. There's something just inherently interesting about, like, being a guy and, like, survival skills or whatever else. I don't know why. Like, the fact, you know, the whole community of preppers prove this is true. And so I've been thinking about expiry dates for that reason. Because, you know, people think canned goods last forever, but really they eventually, like, I think the acidity of tomatoes rusts into the most can. You know, you start to run out of food, like, fairly soon. And so it's cool to imagine, like, what do you do if everyone in the world, you wake up tomorrow and everyone in the world besides you is gone? I think that's, like, definitely the most fun version of apocalypse. Because if you, I feel like in any realistic scenario, there's, like, a slow decline of humanity. Where, like, oh yeah, so today there's 100% of humanity. Next month there's 90%. The month after there's 80%, etc. And in that collapse, like, things will fall apart. It's much more fun to imagine, like, you wake up tomorrow, no one else is in your house. And you look around, it's spooky, but it's fine. And then you ask around and, like, what next? It's like, oh, there's no one. It's not just that there's no one in your house. There's no one in your, on your street either. Very weird. So then you look around everywhere, and there's just no people. I think that'd be fun. I think that'd be a lot of fun, personally. Maybe terrifying in its own ways, but also fun. I feel like there's a lot of interesting scenarios that come from it very quickly. I feel like most people go insane within a few days or a week. Yeah, so something that is a lot of people aren't. Okay, so shout out to my fellow introverts out there who feel like they are uncharged, you know, like their batteries are depleted by being involved in social engagements. Want to say, you know, totally acknowledge, exactly the same here. But at the same time, something I realized after moving out and living by myself was that even though my batteries are depleted by, you know, doing that, it also feels weird not to have any social encounter. You know, like, you know, it's one of the important parts of life is the people that you spend it around. And so even though, you know, like if you're sometimes, it can feel really good when you're at a social, like, engagement to be like, can't wait for this to be over. Like, it feels really good when it is finally over and you're back home in the comfort of your own, you know, once you're really comfortable again, etc., etc., etc. It feels really good and all that stuff. But at the same time, it does have to be stated that there is something about not seeing another human being for a bit that starts to get to you eventually. And so I think that would be the biggest problem with being the only human being left alive. What if you died, says Alita Lau? Well, if you die, then there'd be 0 people left on Earth. But yeah, no, you have to, I think if you just imagine like 99.999% of the population goes away tomorrow, what do you do then? Would you want to look for other people? You know, you'd have this intense internal desire for it. But humans get like rusty of our social skills. And also, there are people who mean to cause you harm that right now are kind of kept in check by civilization and society. And, you know, like, there's a phrase out there that, like, you know, most people are like, free meals away from rioting in the streets. And there's a little bit of truth to that, but because people are happy, you know, if you have some real niche political movement that you think isn't successful, there is a real chance that if things got real bad, people might believe in your ideas more. But they don't, because of the fact that, yeah, there's no real need to be. Also, I think I have a whole shulker box I should start filling up. I didn't bring it with me, actually. Okay. Well, I guess I can start filling this one up anyway. There's no reason not to if I'm tearing away all this nebrack. Trying to make my nether just a little bit more visitable. Future me will benefit from this. And so I'm making sure I have all the stuff for it. And yeah, we're just slowly tearing away more and more to make this curve slightly easier for when I do decide to walk it. But again, I think most of the time I probably will fly it. But, you know, sometimes it's nice to walk, at least even if it's just for showing people around. And so eventually this curve should go all the way from here, all the way to the right there. So let's do it. Let's destroy an insane amount of blocks. And then later replace the ceiling with, I don't know, stone bricks or something. I feel like so many people count people who they've only just met as friends. It's so confusing for me. You barely know them. The thing is, though, right, the Ender Cyclops. 3 moles, I'd ride after Miss Snack. We ride at dawn, says Cat Beanie, by the way. I know what you mean about that. There are times where you're like, yeah, it's not that I want a whole meal yet. You know, being hangry is a real thing. Where, like, you know, as you start to get hungry and people get between you and your food, it starts to get crazy. Once you're 3 meals in, it's even crazier. But, yeah, the Ender Cyclops says that most people count people they don't really know as friends. You know, if you think about it, though, you don't truly know your friends either. One of the reasons I think it's so important to spend one-on-one time with people, I was kind of mentioning this before, is like, yeah, it's really hard for anyone to truly understand you or for you to truly understand anyone. Because if you think about how much of your life you spend alone versus how much of your life you spend with people, it's a really, really, really small fraction that you... Like, even if you meet up with friends every single week and you hang out for, like, 4 hours... You know, a really long hangout session every single week. That's 4 out of your 168 hours that week. That's, you know, like, in percent terms, that's like 2.5% of your week you spend with them. So 97.5% of your time you don't spend with these very, very close people. And, you know, for most people who don't have living situations that pair with their friends, that probably is, you know, above average, or about average, if at the very least. And, yeah, I'm gonna go grab my, my Nevrac now, and I'm gonna bring it over back to the... Actually, I'm gonna fill an entire shulker box filled with Nevrac first. I think that's a thing I need to do, so I think it's a thing I'm going to do. I'm gonna free up some inventory slots. I've got some in here. So let's go ahead. Throw the Nevrac in there. Then let's take this shulker box, that shulker box, that shulker box. And also this one, because we can just fill it up. Then let's put our deep slate bricks away and our other stuff away. And then let's go fill up some boxes while making the tunnel. Oh, there's no space for snow. How do I make space for snow in here? Do I put this ice with something else? I'll drop the ice on the ground. It's not important. It's one ice block. Who cares about it? And then we'll go right over here and put these back in. And then we'll put the other stuff away and we'll be good. So, nice to see someone else has the same amount of movement to pickaxe when they see XP, says Adjext. Yeah, the amount you use a pickaxe, it's kind of crazy how much healing it needs. But, you know, it means you have to put a lot of work into keeping it maintained. And so that, I'm glad that you do. I'm glad you also do as much mining that you need to do that. It's, your sword by default will get enough experience to, like, stay topped up. But your other stuff is, like, maybe a little bit less so. So yeah, the Ghast Tear shouldn't be in here, but just for now, I'm putting it in there to stop it being a problem for the rest of me. And the Nev Brick blocks can go back in this chest. That's why I was going there in the first place. In we go with the 7 Nether bricks. And you know what? I'll put in the 62 Nevrac too. Now let's go on a crazy mining trip to the Nether. And then let's come back and bring all the boxes with me out to my Nether. So if you consider some people go out with friends for like 4 hours almost every day, it's more like 12% for some people. Still a really small portion. Yeah, okay, 4 hours every single day of friends is such a huge time commitment. Like, that is an almost full-time job you're picking up with friends. Like, I think the amount of time that you actually have in a week is often really overstated. Like, hopefully you have enough time to do all the things you care about. But really, there's so much that has to get done in a week. There's so, like, you know, outside of... Let's assume that you don't live in a situation where you have to deal with, you know, chores like cooking or cleaning, or, you know, just generic garbage like, oh, you have to do this, otherwise things don't keep running the way they do. Sad how many tasks are like that in life. But let's assume that you don't live in a scenario where you have to care about those things. So you still have 168 hours, and boom, you lose something like 50 or 60 of them just immediately to sleep. Just like, oh yeah, your body needs to do nothing and, you know, like, I don't know, like lay down in a place all day. And also, as well as losing some time to sleep, you lose some time to laying there trying to sleep. Okay, so you've lost a third of your time immediately. Oh, okay. Oh, that's real hard. So then it's like, okay, you've got to like pay for your existence at some point. Okay, that's like, you know, a part-time job is at minimum 15 hours, but that won't pay for most people's most things. So like, you know, 40 hours is the normal job experience, but you know, there's overtimes, there's getting to and from your job. You're talking about half your week is being taken up by work, and then it's like, okay, with the rest, you need to eat. That's like a few hours here, a few hours there. You gotta have like some hobbies, and then oh, boom, you've got like 12 hours spare in your week, which you can dedicate to either friends or learning a brand new, you know, like professional skill. Like, okay, you want to learn to play the piano? That time doesn't come from nowhere. You've got these like very few hours to actually divide between things. And so to be like, yeah, I'll just skip up on my hobby time today and my, I guess you can combine hobby and eating time with friends. You can combine, you know, time learning a professional skill with friends. If you're really lucky, you can combine your time, you can combine your time at work or getting to and from work with friends. But even then, it's not really true quality time if you do that. The best quality time is stuff that is dedicated just to doing something. Like, it's a good alternative if you can, you know, hang out and mix some other time But yeah, hours a day is nuts to me. As someone who is, I feel like I try to describe myself as an introvert that tries to make themselves extroverted. I try to like be a glass half full person in life and say, yeah, if you see, you know, like it's really, really easy to convince yourself that, like, oh man, I am just really, really bad at people. But actually, it's not that you're bad at people, it's that most of the people around you, or the way that the people interact with you, is just so draining that it's like, you know, you're not introverted for all people, you're just introverted for the people you happen to be around. Which, you know, for most people, until you find people you share interests with, etc., it can actually be really hard. I think I work part-time right now, and I don't understand how anyone survives the 40-hour work week, says Riley. I started recently timing myself recently. I was, so like excluding time, like in between projects and time like spent on lunch breaks or whatever. I currently spend, you know, like just over 40 hours a week, doing what I care about. And like, yeah, I totally feel like on days where I'm working, it's hard to like squeeze other stuff in. It's hard to be like, let's just spend an hour at the store because we need to pick some stuff up, or like, let's do that. Like those hours either take away from work or they take away from like my chill, relax time. You know, like enjoying some video games or media or whatever in the evening. So me and my friends are so different when it comes to this. During the holidays, he asked me to go to his house 2 to 3 times a week. I just said, if I've already been, I don't need to go again. I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily a good attitude either, the end of Cyclops, but I totally get it. And I do think a lot of this is down to, like, at some point, it's about being bad with, maybe not being bad with boundaries, but being bad at understanding what it is that, you know, friendship is meant to be, understanding what it is that you're meant to be getting out of this. And maybe just having terrible friends around you. I mentioned before, the first friend I made in high school, he burnt me alive on the first day. You know, he gave me the tools to burn myself alive, and then as I was screaming while my arm was on fire, he like laughed at me. You can still see my burn from that, by the way. Can you actually? I don't know. I'm currently like sunburnt, so you might not be able to, but I've still got a fairly horrific burn mark from that. But you know, like you know, he was like, despite his flaws, he was very loyal. But it also meant like, okay, hanging out with this guy is a chore. He's a guy who doesn't take no for an answer, and also there are downsides to that come with the upsides, right? Every person is actually like this. People have this about you to some extent, I'm sure. Like, oh yeah, you are really great at this, but really bad at this. But it's hard to like know, like, oh yeah, what actually do all of these things mean? And so, anyway, my point for saying all of that is just to be like, yeah, people are bad at understanding what it is they get from social interactions sometimes. And so it's easy to be like, oh, I just don't enjoy the very wider concept of being social. Even if it isn't actually true necessarily. I think in lots of cases it is, but in lots of cases it also is not. I'm going to throw this on the ground over here. Quick charge, on the ground it goes. And then we're going to tear out some more of this tunnel. It's getting some real nice size, by the way, right? Getting some really, really nice size. So now let's go across diagonally like this. We get fewer blocks mined this way. But we do make the tunnel look just that little bit nicer, right? I wish I was extroverted because people tire me, even good friends at large amounts. But my mental health deteriorates if I don't socialize. Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting about. If the world ends, you're like, you definitely need to have some socializing in you. Lucy Ra. My dad left when I was 6. I haven't seen him in 3 years, and I'm sad. I'm sorry to hear that, by the way. That's a very serious thing to drop in there, Elida. I hope that, you know, you talk to someone who is, like, equipped in that. I never really had a father growing up, so I have no idea. I genuinely don't get what you'd be missing out from a father. Like, I think, you know, to me, it always felt like, oh, yeah. So, people who had dads, it was just someone who would yell at them and tell them to get stuff done. Like, I can't tell you anyone else in my universe who had, like, a father who actually seemed to care about them in a meaningful way. Like, I know, I didn't... I'm sure they exist. You see them on TV all the time, so it must be real. but I haven't seen that. I think definitions of social change between people. Some people would say a group of 10 plus is being social. I'd say 4 to 5 is a stretch. Yeah, totally clear. You know, Enter Cyclops, I think we have a lot in common on this. The way, the fact that, you know, lots of people are able to be social in large groups, but to me that's just like being a part of a big mass of like, I don't know, noise, and you not even, again, there's no meaningful connection being formed there, but to some people, like, the connection part of conversation is like nothing, whereas the, you know, the fun things happening is the reason that you do stuff together. And there is some truth to that, like, even if you really don't care about other human beings, like, let's say you're literally you're sociopathic, other human beings could all die tomorrow, and you'd be happy and be excited to talk about the acidity of canned goods or whatever. But, even if that is you, do baby piglins attack you? I actually don't remember if they do. Okay, they don't. That's good. No baby killing today. Also, it was very good to see you, Bird for Life. Hope you're having a wonderful one. I hope you do have a wonderful one, I should say. But yeah, I think even if you're... I think one of the fun things that happens with that a lot of people don't appreciate is, like, when you hang out with people, you get the opportunity to do more fun things that you wouldn't do alone. There are lots of fun things that you shouldn't wait for other people to do. Like, I've heard so many people over the years be like, no, I couldn't travel alone. I'd have to travel with someone else. Or I couldn't go out to a restaurant alone. There's like a fairly famous... It's funny, there's a lot of people I met at various conventions who, like, went on to be, you know, somewhat important in their own fields. But there's a guy I met from one of these who is now, like, a very well-known face because he deals with a very big Minecraft event. And he was horrified at the idea of eating at a restaurant by himself. You know, yeah, like, you had to, like, laugh it off, like, ha ha ha, look how sad I am. And it's like, oh yeah, that's like a deeper problem about being alone, right? Like, you don't have to be with people to go out and eat or to go out and watch a movie you care about. But it just, you know, I think a lot of people feel helped by having other people around for those things. Like, when there are cool things in life, you might want to have other people around to do them with, to appreciate with, etc., etc. Maybe. Yeah, I'm so confused. I told my friend I was an introvert, and he knows this, and he also says he is one, but he has so many other friends and talks to them all the time, though online. Yeah, people online are so different to people in real life, because it's so different to talk to someone. Like, one of the things that confused a lot of people early on in this channel is, like, Toycat, you can't keep saying you're introverted and then stream for 4 hours and then talk the entire time. And it's like, well, it's clearly different, isn't it? By the way, I'm not worried about the piglins. I'm just not worried. He can hit me all he likes, and that's his prerogative. I hope that he will one day stop, but if he doesn't, that's just fine. So let's dump in our Neverac, coming together quite nicely, if I do say so myself. And I'm finally gonna stop. Like, have you ever? There's some people you can talk to great online, but not as well in person, and some people in person that you can talk to. There are so many people that I love talking to in person, but I have not. I hate when they text me. I hate when they message me on stuff. It's like, I don't know what to talk to them about here, because they respond very differently. I don't know. I don't get it, is my genuine, like, I don't know. I guess, like, you both have to be there at different times in a weird way. But yeah, I've got quite a few friends that, like, I have no idea how, you know, we don't have any we don't have any way to actually talk in a meaningful way when it is on the internet. I have 2 sets of parents. One adopted at birth. Oh, your bio parents are just strangers who share DNA with me. They gave me some pretty bad genes. My actual parents gave me some okay genes. Oh, you got some genes. Nice. I love some okay genes in this world. I've got some pretty nice ones. I got some stretchy genes, and I try to live my entire life in them because they're appropriate for basically every circumstance. I'm wearing them right now. Very good. You just yeah, a little bit of flex to any genes, and all of a sudden they're perfect for all the situations. So, hello IBX Toycat, says Nabani. Hello, how's it going? You having a good day? I hope the answer is yes. If the answer isn't yes, then I will pretend I didn't hear it. Geggings. Something like that. So I love jeans. I have like 4 pairs. I feel like they are so like I think in society this happens to a lot of things. Like when there's something that fits lots of situations well, people who don't want to like fit things to specific situations wear them. Because as someone who doesn't really like care about fashion in a great big way, the real revelation that fashion people reveal to you is like no matter how much you care about fashion, you're always making a statement, whether you know it or not, you know? No matter how much you care about art, whenever you draw something, you are making an artistic piece. It's just that most people won't see or care about it. And the same is true for maybe your fashion statements. Okay, so I'm gonna, at this point, I'm gonna start raising this up by 1 block at a time, which is gonna make for a really confusing pattern, but we'll go with it. It's up to there, and then up from here, and then up from there to the very top here. And then if everything else just follows fairly neatly in kind, we should be onto something. There we go. Destroy these blocks. And then probably try to make this connect in a good way too. So destroy a bunch of blocks in the ceiling. Yep, looks good to me. About perfect, if you ask me. Nice. Has anything of you said ever stuck with you? Says Alon Gongar. I don't know how to spell your name. Alolan Gengar. Like you're a Gengar from Pokemon, and then Alola. Colon brackets is very expressive. I do like coffee tunes. Yeah, stuff you says stick with me all the time. Usually, I like when it's good stuff. Sometimes it is the opposite, if I'm being totally honest. But I would say, yeah, there are very frequent moments where something that a viewer is saying sticks in there. I think the problem with the internet, can I be real here? Most of the internet is bad. This isn't a crazy new opinion or anything, but it is true. Most of the stuff on the internet is bad, and this extends to comments in a very real way. So many communities are like deeply and heretically toxic, and like as someone who's a believer in free speech, you know, we don't have a right to it or anything in the UK, but it's a belief that I think we should try to provide people with the ability to speak their minds. It has to be that then, you know, it has to be said that even though I like the idea that people should be able to say what they want, when you give people the ability to say what they want, some people use it in some pretty questionable ways. And so, yeah, the weird thing about most comments being bad is it means the ones that are thoughtful stick with me a lot better. Thank you for the pronunciation, by the way, Longlar. And someone said, I will throw glue at you. Really stuck with me, says Ruby likes Sonics too. There you go, high quality comment. As long as it's free, fight against control. So, one of the things that I think stems from the fact that most comments on the internet are bad is that there are some real, genuine people out there put off by the bad, but will, you know, they'll leave a comment here and there. You know, some of these people, they're in the form of the super chats or the tips. Some of these are like comments I see on videos, and some of these are just random chats on live streams where someone says something that actually is quite meaningful. And it's always, it almost catches you as a surprise, because you're expecting to hear some memey point, or you're expecting to hear some fairly surface deep one. And so when you get something that's like actually impactful, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that exists too. I am glad. Hi, Toycat, enjoying the stream and your TED Talks. You know, should we have a TED Talk about the, should we have a TED Talk about the concept of trust? Everyone thinks that they're filled with trust in this world. Everyone thinks that they live in a... Everyone likes the idea of being trusted, but also does not trust other people very freely. And I think that's a very interesting idea, worth exploring in my TED Talk today. Speaking of my TED Talk, Alon Gongar, thank you so much. Alon Gongar. I got it that time, I think. Thank you for becoming the 399th channel member. Hey, we are now 1 member away from 400. Can you believe, internet? I hope you can believe, because it's reality. Okay, so now we'll destroy a bunch of blocks over here. And then we'll have to step up this way. And then there we go. Now start destroying. And later we'll destroy the big, like, top of this to make this all work. For right now, just making the sides work. It's easy, it's doable, and it's happening. So, Alo Lan Gonga. I think I got it. I recently read a quote about the choice between freedom from and freedom to, and it put a lot of things into perspective. Yeah, I think that the thing very few people are opposed to is the concept of freedom, especially younger people. Some older people start to lose their way on like what freedom means. But I think that is the most interesting like underlying point in philosophy and maybe even like political theory. Is there are actually 2 types of freedoms, right? Thank you so much, Kit, for becoming the 400th! Wait, 400th channel member! Woo! Party popper. Why don't I have a party popper ready for these moments? You know what? I am excited. I need to... Wait. One sec, chat. I don't have it anymore. I used to have a, I don't even know what they're called, like the mouth thing that makes the noise. Do you know exactly what I'm talking about by any chance? I'm sure you have no idea what I'm talking about. But yeah, I used to have a mouth thing that made the noise that would be perfect for this situation, but sadly not this moment. So yeah, 400 members, so exciting, chat. The promise still stands. When we hit, also, is something wrong here? There's some misconnect in the tunnel. Okay, we're gonna have to keep killing these fellas. I think it literally is. Come on. I don't want to kill you. You don't want to kill me. So why do we keep doing this then? Did I mine a block there by accident? Okay, so back to the job. Yay! Man, 582! Thank you for becoming the 401st channel member. Thank you. We hit 400, and that is very exciting. I think hitting goals in life is one of the true pleasures. I think there's something about trying to do something that is, you know, I'm very, very impressed that we got here, and thank you to everyone who has made it possible. One of the most important things on the internet, you know, that kind of ties into the freedom discussion a little bit. Like, on YouTube, you're very, 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 you know, at the whims of a algorithm that has lots of interesting feelings about what you should be making. You know, like, you know that phase where everyone turned their videos into Mr. Beast style things a few years ago? That's because they're like, yeah, it's the only thing the algorithm will recommend to people and stuff like that. And so a lot of videos, I try to produce videos that have meaning to people who are playing Minecraft, people who are getting back, you know, like the useful things to help you with your Minecraft stuff. And it's cool. The more memberships we have, the more we can worry about, like, you know, like just, it means that by making a direct contribution that way, we are less reliant on the ads, which means we can focus less on, like, oh god, this video's dropped like a stone because it doesn't have a very clickable thumbnail. Those things are still very important, of course. But we don't have to worry about appeasing an algorithm as opposed to actually making stuff that I think people will enjoy. So yeah, let's have a very brief discussion on one of the more interesting philosophical things after. Because by the way, this tunnel really is getting wider and wider and wider. Let's now do the next layer up on this side. Because as you can see, we're not quite there yet. And then once we destroyed all of those blocks, we'll be in a really good place. So, are you doing anything for 400 members? Drunk Stream chat controls the stream. So, the member goals we set are at 420 and at 500. There's a big one at 500, chat. At 420 members, though, I will bathe in Doritos. It will be an expensive Dorito bath, but these are the things that are entirely possible. Also, thank you, Kit. I'm glad that you like the channel and that you said you watch the videos daily. It's your favorite part of the routine. I'm really happy to hear that. I hope that you have many a future happy day with that as part of your routine. What is the 500 member thing? So for should we reveal the 500 member goal before we get to 420, chat? Is that how we should do things? Or should we have one at 450 too? You know, they're hard decisions to have answers for. It's one of those things where I usually like vaguely allude to it, but it might make sense to have this like all officially listed somewhere. Like, okay, if you're here right now, reveal the 600 member one too. I'll be honest with you, I have nothing planned for 600 yet. I feel like if we got to, you know, 450, then we'd have to, and you know, we'd start planning for it. But yeah, I think at 419, reveal the 450 goal. Okay, so Rose Pentacle, you think one at a time. Like, okay, everyone focus towards 420, and then just before 420, we should reveal what happens after 420. 1K members, he bathes in fine wines. 1,000 members, and something I've seen you can do, I don't know if everyone else is familiar with this, but you can buy, like, spoiled wines for a really good discount. So, like, they're 20 years aged, but at some point, the cork has dropped out. So you have to drink them, like, right now. I don't know if there's any other downsides to them, but, like, you can't... It's really hard to know, like, the value of a 17.3 year aged wine. Because usually they sell wines aged at very particular intervals, right? Anyway, so... I figured that could be a cool version of that. So Cat makes a weird mixture of 100 wines, bathes in it that way. It feels like you might have some problems bathing in that, actually. I'd consult with my legal team first, or my health team. I'd consult my health team first, which is just me putting on a doctor suit and then saying, yeah, all right, you can do whatever you want, buddy. But yeah, I think it'd be real fun. Also, throw a single steak and lava on a 400 members, Toycat. That is a beautiful idea. A single steak. I definitely think we should do a member drive soon. I've been planning one for a little bit. Like, oh yeah, you tip, and then this silly thing happens. So maybe we should do one... Should we do one just before or just after the update, chat? Toycat drinks wine from a mug in the shape of Winston Churchill. Today I'm drinking It's got vitamins in. All of the vitamins, apparently. It's, So, okay, before we talk about the more serious discussion on, on, you know, like, what a freedom from versus a freedom to is, can I just very briefly discuss one of the... I live in a city. I think a lot of people do, but I mention that because one of the things that surprises people who live in North America is that you don't need to own a car to buy groceries. It's like most people will just buy groceries a couple times a week on the way home from work, like, or, you know, in my case, because my work is in my home, I just like go out on a walk and it's like, you know, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes back. It's not that much effort to get groceries in the house, and you buy fewer groceries and you get to eat what you actually are wanting rather than having to guess what 2 weeks from now you want. There's a lot more future thought that has to go into North American cuisine for sure, for that reason. But so one of the few downsides is a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I cannot imagine living without that stuff, and usually I think that's kind of silly. But there are some things where it's so true where I'm like, if I had a car, this would be easier. And one of those is like buying. I bought some bulk pasta to prepare for the apocalypse today, and also buying drinks. I love drinks. I drink a lot of drinks. You might be surprised to learn that's what I do with drinks, but I do in fact drink a lot of drinks. And one of the... Okay, so is this where the next pillar goes? Yep, it is. And then we start tearing these ones down. Oh, I think I made some mistake here, chat. I think I made a very big mistake here somewhere. That's okay, though. You know, everyone makes mistakes. It's just my mistake is a little bit more noticeable than most mistakes. Anyway, and so yeah, being able to buy like a large number of drinks, it gets really heavy to hold those in your hands, so you can only bring like 5 or 6 back from the store at a time. What if you want to drink 5 or 6 drinks a day? You can't go to the store every day. So I rented a car just for those things. It's at least a 2-hour trip for the store, says Cronrap64. Yeah, one of the cool things about that though is if you take forever to get to the store, you probably will spend like 40 minutes in there really looking at all your item possibilities and imagining what you can eat. Whereas for me, genuinely, I want to get in and out of there as soon as possible. I've wasted, 8 minutes getting here, 8 minutes getting back. So this is a half-an-hour task, or longer if I spend more than 14 minutes in here, this is a half-an-hour plus task. And I don't just have half an hour in my day. I find it hard to hang out with people and also make videos and streams and shorts and have time to relax and have time to sleep, there's a lot of stuff going on in life, and it's like, I don't want to just spend time aimlessly looking at food. I live on top of a shop, I have 0 urgency. Very jealous about that, gotta say. We have a regular here in chat who lives above an Amazon Fresh, and I'm even more jealous of that. Because, I guess at your shop, I'm guessing it's like a real part, like it's a shop owned by a person. I have no idea why I'm assuming that, but to me, that's the difference between shop and store. But, yeah, if you live above a shop, maybe, it's a co-op. Oh, okay. So I feel like the one downside is, like, you've got to at all times be like, okay, I've got to bring a card with me. It takes like 25 seconds for you to get in and out. Whereas if you go for an Amazon Fresh, you just get your QR code permanently tattooed on your real wrist or something like that. Also, something has gone wrong here. I don't know what it is, but I have not done this part of this correctly. So we'll go fix that right now. But yeah, you get that on that, and then you could run in, grab the stuff, run right out. It'll be sorted. I feel like that's the next level of luxury. I guess the level of luxury above that is living in the back of a store. Like living literally in the milk aisle. Like, it probably would get annoying having people walk past you all the time. But otherwise, it'd be fun. I live 50 minutes from a big Tesco that used to be the biggest one in the world, apparently. Okay, Kit, that requires some verifying. Is there a biggest Tesco in the UK? Walkden, 17,000 to where is Walkden? I need to go there. I went to one in Watford recently. Hope that's not doxing myself. But I went to a oh, it's like on the outskirts of Manchester. Okay, Walkden, Tesco. Tesco Extra, Walkden. There's multiple Tesco Extras in Walkden, apparently. How do you know if you're going to the right one? Anyway, so I watched a Netflix show about the largest Tesco. It's a very niche Netflix show, gotta say. I love next to the biggest Tesco in Ireland, says Alolon Gengar. You've gotta, you're lucky that everyone here is a friend, but if you keep telling people about the crimes you're committing, you can't just be loving next to random Tesco's. Order online and have them delivered, saves speaking to other people, says Diggin' Troops. I think that the idea of ordering online is the biggest win, but I find in practice, like, it just feels like just as much work. Like, when I'm in the store, I know exactly where all the things are. Like, I'm a very spatial person, so I don't do very good at, for example, I can't tell you where something is except by showing it to you on a map, for example. Like, I don't know, I've got like I've got a very this is why I like Minecraft, maybe. Like, it's a 3D space, it's a 3D art form and all that stuff. Maybe it says something else about me more than that I like. But anyway, the thing here is to say is that I feel like it's hard for me to know the names of all the things I want to eat. Whereas I can very easily look at it and go, yep. And I can picture exactly where in Tesco I've got to walk. Like, okay, if I want some, I'll check in this aisle, and this aisle, because that's where the stuff is. I know exactly where, like, maybe this is normal and this is why everyone does it this way, or maybe I am the weird one. But, yeah, I'm very visual and spatial, more than I am anything else. Okay, so now we start building these up. I don't know how high up we go, so we'll just build them 2 blocks for now, and if they happen to be taller, they happen to be taller. Okay, so we're gonna eventually get gas blasted out of here. But it'll be nice while it lasts, right? It'll be nice while it lasts. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, this tunnel has really come some crazy lengths from where it once was. A phrase that encapsulates your values and keeps you directed towards your goals, says Daniel Stephen Woods. Yeah, that's what, you know, I used to think it was so dumb, the idea of companies having something like that. Yeah, the mission statement or whatever. Seems like such a dumb idea. But actually, it is quite important to... Like, we humans are very transient in our thoughts and feelings. Like, what we care about right here, right now, is not what we'll care about in a few days or hours or something. And, you know, that can be said to be sad by itself. Or it can be said that, okay, staying motivated is a hard thing. If you look at the longest living business that ever was, it's got, like, only 500 years of lineage back to the present day. It's really hard to have concepts that extend past human lives. Because even if you can get a human to care about the same thing for all of their life, getting multiple humans to care is hard. Because what I care about might be different to what you care about. Even, like I said, most young people care about the idea of freedom. Most young people are broadly on board with the idea of, like, oh yeah, we should have more rights and the ability to do more things. Like, who isn't in favor of that? Who thinks, no, I think people should have less ability to do stuff? I mean, I think there are, like, I can understand where people come from with it, but I also think it's, like, it's very rare you actually speak to someone who openly says it that way. And so everyone agrees with the idea of, like, yeah, we should all have freedom. And then the point from earlier, why do I feel like we're about to propose the 1,000-year Let's Play? Okay, so here's the thing. I need to start grooming a successor for the Let's Play now. I need to find someone who's not yet been born, but who will take over the Let's Play world when I die or become critically ill. And then I need to make them good enough at not just be someone who can take over, but be someone who can take over the taking over. So they can work out who should replace them. You need to not only have an heir, but you need to have an heir finder too. You need to have an heir who is good at finding another heir, and also have that heir understand that when they find an heir, that heir needs to be good at finding an heir. Toycat in the 1,000-year Let's Play world. It'll be great. It'll be really great. You should have a kid then. Toycat needs a child to inherit the Let's Play. But here's the thing. Most children, right? The majority of children, if you gave them a really important thing to you and said, you need to dedicate your life to this, they'd be like, stupid. It takes a lot of work to actually... You know, even in the royal family, which is like 1,000 years of people saying, look, you'll inherit the whole country. There's still multiple kings who said, yeah, I don't want the whole country. I want to just go bang an American. That's the real reason that a king abdicated, by the way. Or you have, maybe more seriously, or more recently, you've got that one prince and princess couple where one of them said, I want to go bang an American. Man, is that the only reason? Is that like 100% of the reasons why people stop becoming royals? Is it 100% down to just, oh yeah, if you want to get frisky with those darn Republicans, as in people from a republic, not that one political party. Just a reminder, you will live in a democracy and a republic if you are in the United States of America. A lot of people say that, though, no, it's not one of these things. I don't live in a democracy. I live in a republic. It's like you live in a democratic republic. Anyway, the important thing here is to say, you need multiple kids, so at least one will take over. You know, that's North America has the hottest people. It's fact. I think there is a valid argument for why that could be true. Again, I'm not going to necessarily make it right here, right now. But if you were to try and argue, you know, if you were to make the argument, then a really compelling point for it would be that, unlike most peoples from most continents, you know, like Americans are interbred and crossbred on the basis of, you know, like I don't know. It's also, what the heck is this chest? What did I do? Okay, I'm just gonna put that away. Pretend I didn't see that. Oh, that was bad. That was very ugly. So with that said, didn't Edward abdicate in part due to being a Nazi? It was more about the American than, you know, that says something to you, that the fact the much bigger deal is the American bit, not the N-word stuff. You know, that's not the N-word, is it? That's on YouTube. It's the N-word. You know, in real life, we can say the Germans from 1930s to 1945, but on the internet we can't. But yeah, so even though we all agree with the idea of freedom, let's say, immediately you come into an issue of, well, there are two types of freedom, right? There are, I would say, positive freedoms and negative freedoms. A negative freedom is saying, I would like to prevent people from doing something to me. I think the freedom to not, you know, the freedom to be able to go in public and not be stabbed. You know, like, if the reason you're not going in public right now is not because someone is not allowing you to, it's because there is a negative thing in the way. And so removing that negative thing, which usually means the government, right? The government are preventing me from building a giant tower that goes up to space, because you need planning permission to build a tower, and so I don't have the freedom to build my own real-life tower, and that is a negative freedom if I were to get it granted, because it wouldn't give me the ability to do it automatically, but it would take away the interference with my freedom. Whereas the reverse freedom, a positive freedom, is someone saying, yeah, I think that you can only truly be free, not just to have the theoretical ability to do something. You know, you are free to make friends. You know, you are free to, also, this is such a weird thing that happens in Minecraft. Why does it put me in a little hole down there? You are free to do lots of things that you will not choose to do in your lifetime. You are free to be best friends with, you know, with, what's his name? With O.J. Simpson. You are free, to, go out in public and yell, you know, to create, you are free to do all sorts of things that you want to do. But also, being able to make friends with O.J. Simpson doesn't just require the ability for the government to tell you no. It requires, I don't know, like a connection to him, and like someone who you'd have to have some time alone and the ability to like woo him to provide something that would interest him enough for him to be friends with you. I live in a city where it's illegal to build anything taller than our very phallic Capitol building. Is that Washington D.C.? Isn't he dead? Yeah, that's the biggest. You can't be friends with OJ. He's dead. You can be friends with dead people. That's very rude to me and my dead friend. You know, I can't believe there are some bigoted people here who don't even believe that you can be friends with dead people. I'm very shocked. My girlfriend walked in right as you said. You're free to be friends with O.J. Simpsons. Oh, Alolan Gengar. Your boyfriend is a member, so one of the nicer people on the internet. But also, that means that he is financially supporting people's ability to be friends of O.J. Simpson. Yeah, you think about that. Meet O.J. at a bar and tell him you also beat your wife. Okay, good idea. But so, you're free to, you know, to build a tower to go to outer space. You're not actually. There's government restrictions on that. But you're free to do lots of things that in practice you won't do. And so some people argue that you're not truly free until you're positively free. Which is to say, you always have the resources to be able to do something. So, you know, the idea of like, maybe, let's say food is a right? Food as a right can be taken as a negative right. The government should never take away your ability to eat. You should never starve because of your government. Or you should say, oh yeah, the government should always make sure that no matter what the circumstances, its citizens should be able to eat. You know, like, some stuff like food banks should be provided by the government, because if you don't have money, that shouldn't be a good enough reason not to eat. So, you know, like, there's the positive freedoms, the negative freedoms, or the interference-based freedoms, and the non-interference-based freedoms. For most of human history, we had neither. You had very little ability, and there was very little opportunity in the world, and the little opportunity that was there was seized mostly by the ruling classes. So you didn't have an opportunity to do most things. And there was kind of revolution in like the 18th century. You ever heard the phrase life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Is it possible to draw a distinction between positive freedoms and entitlements? I think not. It's weird though, because there are certain, like, once something becomes universal, they become one and the same, right? Like, there is a universal right on both ends to have oxygen, right? No one should ever have to ever have to not breathe it. But then as soon as it becomes controversial, it stops being a question about freedom. Whereas, I don't know, the right to free speech, should that mean no one will hurt you for saying free things? Or the other end of that is like, should it be a, you know, positive freedom, a entitlement to someone to freedom? Should it be not just that the government should step out of the way when you say things, but they should actively defend you when other people step into the way? An example of this is you cannot criticize that one religion with the profit you can't draw. Because even though the government doesn't say it's not okay, you will be threatened by private citizens anonymously, and the government will not do enough about it, right? Also, I'm sorry my comment was not OJ related. I was complimenting your tunnel. I'm sad you didn't see it because OJ overshadowed me. Thank you, by the way, Polly. I did wonder. It felt a bit OJ related, and I was like, you know, I'm glad you're loving this. You know, you work in the police, so I guess you probably got some opinions on OJ. Glad that you love it being brought up this way. Okay, so I'm just going to build up these walls here. It's going to be real nice. I love, oh, okay, what did I just do? I love hearing you yap, Toy Cat. It's very good background noise. Thank you, Sanzi. You know, King of the Yappers is what they call me. He's talking about Mormonism. No, Mormons are nice. If you're mean to Mormons, they will not... I can say 10 mean things about Mormons right now, and they won't do anything bad to me. Okay, so Mormons have that weird underwear, and that's strange, and there's loads of offshoots of Mormonism that are genuinely just cults. And they, you know, I can say mean things, and as a religion, they're not going to have anything mean to say back to me. Damn, didn't know the fuzz was here. If you see a cup for Warner Brother. But yeah, so the rights to lots of things get really messy really quickly. Because ultimately, at some point you have to say that some things are possible for everyone and some things are not, right? And as soon as they are possible for everyone, they become non-controversial and easy. But things like, I don't know, should you have the right to be successful in your field? At some point, it's like, that's not a thing that, you know, like, you can help people become successful, but it mostly comes from, at least in my view of the world, I think that you don't ever feel successful unless it comes from you. If someone hands it to you, you don't feel as good as if you earn it, and you don't, so it's by definition, it's not a freedom that you can positively give to someone. You know, like, everyone has the freedom to write a best-selling novel, but very few people do. You know, my nice little wall you got going on. Yeah, every time someone brings up politics, I make the wall 3 blocks higher. So yeah, a friendly reminder for all who scream human might. A right seems to be a human one. On the instant, it requires the labor of another person. This is not to disregard the importance of some rights. Yeah, I'm surprised this isn't more commonly agreed on. Because there are lots of rights that we all agree are universal, but do actively require someone else to do. In other words, we have rights or we have freedoms that actively inhibit on someone else's, and that's another, like, messy part of it. Like, we all agree that if you are dying, that you deserve help, but that help has to come from someone who also needs to, you know, like, have their freedoms to feed their family and etc, etc, etc. And we have systems where it's all just about worked out, right? But even something as simple as, like, the right to, you know, water. It's like, well, that requires people to work on the water system, which means you can never have it be like a true universal, you know, like, just paid for, right? Because someone has to deal with that. Someone has to be compensated fairly for working on that, or that person will starve and no one will want to do it. Or that means you starve a non-inconsequential number of people to work on the water supply, or to work on, you know, saving people's lives or whatever else. And so we have lots of things that we say are rights, but because they then require the work of other people, they're only rights in the sense that, like, yeah, it would be rude not to give it to someone and, you know, like, work out how it all works out later. The Wandering Trader exploring the Nether right now. Yeah, it's a fun point. Now we finally understand how he gets his hand on all those, and on the glowstone and stuff. Okay, so we're gonna keep building this way, and then we're eventually gonna walk back, because that's where my shulker box is. I think it's important to remember where one's own rights end and the rights of others begins. Yeah, that's why, if I can interject with my own feelings on this, that's why you can't have a conversation about rights, at least not an adult one, without also talking about responsibilities. Is for someone else to have the right to water, someone needs to have the responsibility of dealing with that water. One man's freedom from is another man's freedom to, says Riley. That could be an even more true point. Is for anyone to have, for anyone to be able to have something, someone needs to be able to give something. Unless it is literally freely available there all the time. But even resources that are freely available, like, again, water is freely available, but it's in rivers and not necessarily clean. So it's freely available, but we all need someone else's labor and time and effort. And also we need infrastructure. We need people to build that. We need people to maintain that. You know, like, there are thousands of people whose job it is. Like, it's not one guy. It's thousands of people who make sure that you have water, let alone food. There are hundreds of millions of people employed in making sure that you can eat, and not just you can eat, but you have a choice in things that you eat. You have free, you know, you have choice to do things, but they have the responsibility of serving it to you. And ultimately, you eventually, as you really try to, like, build up a society that way, you realize that, like, oh yeah, everything has a version of this. So yeah, that's why discussions like this, that's why there is no such thing as, like, a basic freedom in the abstract sense. Because eventually your freedoms become someone else's responsibilities. For me to feel safe, some number of people have to keep dangerous people, have to either, you know, deal with dangerous people, let's say, by preventing the problem at the source. Like, you need other people's parents to raise, you know, like in the basic frontier town sense of things. For you to feel safe, other people need to raise their children not to be dangerous. And on the darker level, once people inevitably do not do that, or once we have, like, I don't know, all sorts of reasons, you need to have people who will look after you or defend you, you know, bouncers, bodyguards, police, or whatever else you want to say. What Y level is this going to be, says Big Salmon? We're going up to Y128. That is the official height of the Nether. We could probably stop at about 127 or so. But yeah, it's going high. It's going very, very high. So let's fly down. Let's land in the bed. That almost worked perfectly. I bounced off it. It's a very, very nice build we got going on here. I hope you all agree. So, this is exasperated when you're disabled and require caretakers. Your freedoms impede on the ones who want to give it to you. Yeah, see, Katie Cat, I think that, for better and worse, I used to kind of begrudge it. Like, I'm glad that you come at it from that angle. Because there is when you try to have discussions about stuff like this, and you come at it as like a 19-year-old or something, you think about the problem and you're like, okay, I need to put one of these back in there maybe. It is a real thing that you'll try to talk about, like, okay, how do rights work? And then someone says, I'm disabled. If you try to talk about the whole freedom from thing, if everyone has a freedom from, then there are lots of positive rights that you would need that you would not get. And so it kind of, like, proves the point more than anything else. Is actually, a lot of society is built on people, you might say being nice, right? But also you could say, like, doing their bit, taking their responsibility seriously. If we don't all, you know, if you do not raise your children so they do not steal, then we will have to install anti-theft guards at the edge of the, you know, of every single supermarket, because now we don't know who does and doesn't steal because we can't tell just by looking or something like that. It's everyone's like right, it's someone else's responsibility on some deeper level. Building your own whenever I sit. Also, it's okay. Sorry, I'm late to the stream, says Mark Barger. Good to see you, Mark Barger. Hope you're doing wonderfully. So, Kat, you're trying to tell me you cannot drink directly from the Thames? So I think they've discharged sewage into the Thames for more hours than they haven't discharged sewage into the Thames this year. They charge me a lot of money to deal with my sewage too, and they just can pour it straight into the Thames apparently. You know, I might just start pooping straight into the Thames myself. Anyway, though, there's anti-theft guards at all the supermarkets in my town. So, at my supermarket, I would be worried about doxing myself, but I know this is like all over major cities. So they have the guards when you walk in the store, you know, the metal detectors that are like this far apart. So they have those, and then they have at every single checkout and the main entrance, they have gates that only open if you're coming through, you know, like they're one-way gates, basically. Then they have security guards at the entrance and security guards roaming the store. And then they have little notices saying that just so you know, Sainsbury's PLC will aggressively pursues all shoplifters. We reclaim 96% of the money in court or something. Like, they have really aggressive messages like that. Then they have security cameras at the end of every single aisle. And then they have security cameras on the self-checkout, as well as employees looking at you, just in case the camera wasn't enough. And then they have security guards on the exit. And still, despite all of that, they're still like introducing new security measures quite regularly, which tells me that despite all those things, people are still stealing. Which, I don't know, it's at some point, I guess that's impressive, right? At some point, that is a very interesting thing. But yeah, I'm disabled and require constant care, so I have an inside perspective. But it's even though it's something that's very significant to you on a, even though it's something that comes very naturally to you, it is something that is a part of society of everyone. Everyone has some weakness where you would not necessarily survive so well by yourself. The beautiful thing about humanity is how we do complete and help each other. And so the real wider discussion is not about like, should you have... In general, we should not be impeding on other people's rights to do things. But sometimes, a lot of the things that we want do require things from other people, and so working out a way where they can want to give it to you and you can get it from them is quite hard. And so most of the actual rights that are actually given are ones that are just like, yeah, what are the very, very basic things that every human should have? Because anything more is much harder. Now I know where you live, baby reindeer. Just kidding, not a clue. I live by the high security Sainsbury's. It could be any Sainsbury's, you know. But yeah, I think I feel like a lot of the rights have moral beginning, which is theorized to come from responsibility to others, as everyone stops having control of their own life in the presence of others. Yeah, the very concept of, like, you know, there's no society that ever truly has no. You know, like I really find fascinating. It's the world that fascinates me most, right? In the same way that there are some people who are like, oh yeah, I'd love the idea of communism, but like actually correct. And it's like, well, it's a little bit of a silly idea. You know, like, because, you know, every single person who has tried communism has had this concept of communism but correct. So you kind of just like throwing lives at the wall at some point. But the version of that to me fascinates me. It's like, okay, even though, you know, people say like, oh yeah, true, blah blah blah, communism hasn't been tried. It also hasn't been truly tried to have like truly pure, you know, free market or like libertarianism, whatever you call it. We've never tried just, what if we didn't have any government? Also, thank you, Kanye! So, Kat, love your streams. Do you think Mojang should add new structures like the trial chambers or go back to update old ones? I do think that they could update an old structure to be as good as the trial chambers, but if you're going for a structure that size, you go past the point of being able to update an old one, and you get to the point where it makes way more sense to build a new one. Like, I think the Desert Temple could be more fun. We have a really fun version of a Jungle Temple that I've spent months working on. Hopefully you'll be able to see it soon, Internet. I should know, as you're my parasocial bestie, says Polly E. Glad you think so. But the thing that's never really been tried is like, what if we just had no laws? Because something interesting is that in basically every, you know, like, it's really easy to read up about, like, oh yeah, before we had disability benefits, or before we had, you know, like food banks, people just starved. People literally just died in the street, and some small number of people did. But in reality, like, looking after poor people was seen as, like, the church's responsibility. And, you know, before that, like, there were private charities. Like, people were generous, and people give stuff to help out people. And even when we have government programs, there's still huge numbers of people who give to charities beyond that. Humans are generous, right? We give money all of the time. And so, I think, I really appreciate you giving me credit for thinking about other people's rights, says Katie Cat. I'm glad that you do, because it can be really easy to get your, like, a perspective swapped, but also to say it's important, like, are people fulfilling their responsibilities eventually starts to feel good. Like, in the same way having rights feels good. It feels really cool when you first, you know, take full freedom on some, you know, when you first feel like you are truly on your own 2 feet, but it also feels cool when you first feel like I could do anything I want, but I'm choosing to help someone else. But the word choose is what's important there. But yeah, my point there is to say there are lots of things that you just assume, like, oh yeah, we had to come together and work out how to do that because people were just dying before. But actually, like, you know, maybe the government version is slightly more efficient, and I imagine in some cases it is, and in some cases it isn't.
Chat, that's
hey.
Give Toy Cat some money.
Yeah, people sure are generous. Oh, I've heard that people are incredibly generous of their money. They know there's a good reason to spend it, and I've heard they just do it, huh? Also, we've never tried having no laws. I've seen Toy Cat has never been to Barrow in Furnace. You know, I have never been to Barrow in Furnace. I've been to Barrow upon Soar. Is that basically the same thing? I forget, is this wall going to build height? No, it's going up to 128. I wanted to build it up there first, just to show you what it would look like. Because I could make, like, a little bit of it right here. But it'll go up to 120... Let's go 126 to start with, right? So it's going to be this high. And there's just something intense about this. Like, up to about here. So yeah, that makes some sense. And then we'll have a big, like, deep slate ceiling for it. I think we'll have to make the deep slate ceiling out of slabs or something, so that light gets through. Because otherwise it's going to be very dark in here. But yeah, we'll try building 2 blocks at a time now, see if that's good. IBX Toy Cat, love your videos, says Sigma Cat. Thank you! I love my videos too. We have a lot in common. I'm just kidding. Are we getting a May round review? How many days left are there in May? X Cultron X. Be honest with me. How many days left do we have in May? No, I've noticed an interesting trend. I'm trying to, like, one of the real jobs of being a YouTuber is basically being like a data analyst. And so one of the trends I've had to notice is like, okay, the news videos of a certain type still doing well. People still liking them. But there's always a type of video that isn't. Like, there's a few years ago, I felt like Minecraft informational videos really popped up, really great in a certain way. Also, it's June already in New Zealand, says X Cultron. Look, you asked the question. How could we be getting a May round review if it's already June in New Zealand? We all know that the channel runs on New Zealand time. Well, actually, wait, what's the opposite of New Zealand time? We run on American Samoa time. We run on the furthest back time zone we can. But yeah, I think so even back during our hunter-gatherer times, we took care of others, says Katie Cat. Yeah, it's really interesting. So, you know, you might find this interesting. It sounds like you're someone who can deal with an honest conversation. So a lot of prehistoric societies always look after people who would need it, right? Like the idea of you know, all sorts of mobility aids and all that stuff that existed forever. But what I find interesting is there are some societies that are just like, yeah, if people get too old or if people get disabled, then we'll just run away And if they can't catch up, then that's a sign that they don't make it. Like, there's a lot of Amazonian societies that do that to this day, because they're, you know, like, uncontacted by humans. There's a lot of cruelty out in nature. It does have to be said. And what humans are ultimately trying to do in our societies is, like, avoid that more or less in whatever we think is the best way possible. The problem is there's a lot of wiggle room for what makes the best way possible. I think the argument, if you don't know anyone anything, is a lame cop-out to avoid basic kindness and care. Well, the problem is, right, I don't agree with that, Riley. I think, to play a fair devil's advocate on this, I do think that the moment someone thinks they deserve something from you, it stops being a nice thing you're doing and starts being... Like, everyone has dealt with this at some point, where you really try to help someone, and they just do not get anything positive from it. I think the phrase is like learned helplessness or something like that, where you learn that by pretending to need help, you just get lots of stuff from other people with very little work required. So yeah, so Kat, you've got to cover the sand with Nevrak in your giant region. Oh yeah, you're right. I should probably cover it with soul sand. Yeah, I think that should be soul sand in the giant clamshell. But yeah, I think this is something I don't know enough about to give my opinion on, but it's something interesting to listen to. I'm glad you liked listening to it. A family member of mine once pretended to not know where the store was, and she wanted me to buy something for her. Legend. I just don't know where the store is. Can you help me out? Like, it's really easy to take advantage of the kindness of others, and some people don't realize that other people realize they're doing that. If you know what I'm saying. And so you have to spend a lot of time in life working out how to work out good intentions from someone trying to take advantage of you. But that's also why you can't just be like, oh yeah, everyone should get this all the time. Is because kindness is meant to be kind of a two-way street. You know, like I said, it's rights and responsibilities. It's like, oh yeah, if you take a right from the pile, you've got to take a responsibility. It gets really hard and messy in actuality, but yeah. Speaking of actuality, I think getting ready for the trially trickles, says James Weston. The trickles of trials sure do sound exciting to me too. Got some real excitement going on there. Also, Kelly Satux says what I believe is a very popular phrase nowadays: Skibbity Toilet Ohio Sigma Riz Giat. I actually have two half brothers who are Gen Alpha. Fun fact. And you know what's crazy is they do actually talk like that. Like just randomly say the word Ohio. You know, stuff like that. And it's funny because I feel like language basically evolved specifically to be annoying. Is my hot take. It's like people love when they say things that are like incomprehensible to other people. Because you want to have like some unique little code for you and friends, etc. Their first ever message to 10 out of 10. Wait, was that was really someone's first message in chat was Skibbity Toilet Ohio Sigma Riz Giaz? It's just taking lots of popular words and then mixing them together. But yeah, I remember how cool it was first going to school and learning about all the swear words. That was the coolest moment. Being like, oh, yeah, this is my capability right here. You know, kind of using the freedom of like, there's no parents around, there's no teachers around, it's just me and some other kids, and I'm a work out the worst possible thing to do with this time, right? So yeah, how do you feel about the height of these walls, chat? You think they're a good height? I hope you think they're a good height. But yeah, I can't wait for the autocrafter, because it's like having a government help with my crafting. Yeah, I guess if you think about it, it's sort of like having government help with your crafting. But yeah, I like calling you the grown-up Stampy Cat. I'm grateful you managed to combine Minecraft and more mature, authentic topics. You know, I'm surprised by how many people make a link between us, because it's solely like, oh yeah, I guess we played Minecraft console and had cat in the name. But then I think about it and it's like, actually, yeah, if you think about it for a lot of people, That is a huge coincidence. Like, wow, having cat in your name already made... Like, the pattern humans are like pattern recognition devices. We are so good at spotting the link between two things. So good that we'll spot fake links between things. Because it's like, no way that's a coincidence. It's like, yeah, it'd be weirder if coincidences didn't happen on some insane magnitude frequently. And so, oh no, I didn't make it up onto the mountain. Okay, so now I'm going to go over here. And we're going to take a second. And we're going to appreciate this. I definitely need to go in there and, like, cover it in soul sand. I should probably make this entire area over here, like, soul sand. Just, like, rather than having a lake here. Make this into a little soul sand area. Yeah, I think that's what I'll have to do. I think I have a decent number of soul sand things there. You're basically real-life neighbors anyway, being from the same country. Yeah, let me think of a similar example. You know how I don't even know any famous Americans or where they live. Okay, Joe Biden lives in the White House, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson lives in the Virgin Islands, American Samoa maybe. And so wait, famous Puerto Rican Lin-Manuel Miranda. And so they basically live next door to each other, same country. There we go. Did my best. Oh god, didn't do it. Joe Biden's from Scranton, Pennsylvania. He's not from Scranton. Scranton is where they make the paper. And I know they don't make paper where the president lives. But yeah, I think I have Gen Alpha friends and who are from Ohio, and they talk like that too. I think it is a weird thing seeing generations pop up and being like, oh yeah, this generation does some stuff differently. Because I don't know, I think it's a weird sign you're aging when you start to see stuff like that. Like, you know, the very concept of iPad baby didn't exist before this generation. The reason that people meanly refer to Gen Alpha as iPad babies is because when I was born, I could not have had an iPad. Like, ignoring that my parents you wouldn't have bought me one, I could not have had an iPad to sit in front of. Whereas when my, half brothers were born, it's like, yeah, it's at that peak time where you can spend just a couple £100 and you get children a tablet where they'll leave you alone for the entire night. And it's like, that is such a good price to pay. That a babysitter that comes in the form of, man, the weird videos they would watch, by the way. Like, I learned some really interesting things about how parents view. Like, because, if you talk to parents, they're like, oh, I'm very strict about what I allow my children to consume. No Grand Theft Auto for them, no sorry. And then if you look at how parents actually parent, if you compare the two, it becomes like, yeah, could you turn down the noise on that a little bit, because I'm hearing it a bit loudly. And then you'll see some children like load up like like the most ridiculous stuff you'd never expect them to watch, like the PewDiePie Bridgestein as they're like 7 years old, and just being like, oh yeah, okay, right, this is how this works. Biden was 100% born in Scranton. He's our paper warrior. But yeah, I think it's should they say Texas instead, or like Delaware? I think Ohio, like, taking words that have high amounts of significance to the people who hear them, and then basically turning them into low significance words. That's a power, right? That's a real power. I can feel the brain rot, the brain cells dying every second. But like, people said the same about people playing video games. Like, my generation's iPad baby was people sitting in front of a video game screen all day, right? Thank you, Skydee, for becoming the 402nd channel member. We are now 18 members away. I repeat, 18 members away from Toycat bathing in Doritos. If you become a member right now, you can watch the first 2 episodes in the series. Toycat bathes in Mountain Dew and Toycat bathes in Iron Brew. And I hope you're looking forward to the next one. We should all be better with machine tools, to be fair. You know, that's a good point. But no, I mostly wanted to say that the generation before me's version of that was like movies, you know, like and stuff. And the generation before that was the idea of like, ooh, music is gonna corrupt the youth. But the truth is like people like things that their parents don't like, I think. And sometimes that leads to things which are controversial. But I think it's rare that a generation is actually doomed. But having said that, you know, a lot of the ways people make fun of my generation, 100% true for me. I have this plumbing issue right now, chat, and I have no idea what I would even do about it. Like, there is a weird smell that comes from my bathroom, and I've looked it up, and it's like, yeah, it might be something to do with the drains, or something to do with the vents. Someone in chat once helped me out, said, oh, it's definitely your vents. And it's like, okay, if it's definitely my vents, what do I do about that? My vents are like, I can just about see the vents on the top of my house to confirm they're not blocked. But it's like, so what, how would I fix that? How would a professional even fix that? You know, like there's a lot of issues where you're like, man, I do not have the practical skills for this. I'm just about learning how to like screw things in, and like, you know, bolt things, tie things. You know, I'm picking up the skills that someone would probably have at about age 12, in terms of like household DIY stuff like that. Coming up on age 30. Clean out your U-pipe in the sink, says Mad582. See, but how do you even do that? Do your drains gurgle? There's I've got two separate water-based rooms that smell, and they're two very distinct smells right now. Do you think it's all the bathtub videos that are causing your plumbing issues? You know, the Doritos bathtub is definitely going to cause some plumbing issues. Make sure to become a channel member if you want to give Toy Cat some plumbing issues. It's going to be a lot of fun. Unscrew the two joints in each end of the P-trap and pull down. It should come up. You know, I think it's very funny that it's called a P-trap. I'd like to say that. But yeah, okay, so I'm actually going to try that, Ryan Wait. Yeah, I mostly want it to be wear gloves and maybe have a bucket. Yeah, you know, that's the real advice there, David. My point there was to say that, like, you know, some of the critiques that will be used for my generation are true. But at the same time, just because they are true, it doesn't mean the wider thing is. That'll be a weird plumber visit. Yeah, I've kind of concluded, at this point, I'm going to have to bring a plumber around and be like, look, things smell, and you're going to have to smell them yourself, because I've done all the basic diagnostic. Shame you don't know a plumber anymore. Do you know, do you want an update on my plumber relationship? I'm sure you want an update on my plumber relationship. So I lived with my plumber for a bit. He was, we went to college together. And so, you know, at one point, he helped me with my first house. He did a very, very, very bad job at helping me with my first house. But I put it down to... Also, I think I should load all of this into a chest, maybe. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to place a chest down. I'm gonna... Actually, unless I want to take this all away. Yeah, future me might want to take it away. Let's let future me do that. And then let's place down these shulker boxes. So, only 2 of them, it looks like. Over here, and over here. And we'll probably go grab some more at some point. There'll be a lot of mining to be done for that. And then these 2 are not... Yeah, okay, wait, wow, that was surprisingly fast. So this is how high the Never will actually be, chat. There's also going to be juts in and out of the ceiling. But that's the plan. Do you have a garbage disposal? I do not have a garbage disposal. So yeah, a little bit of an update on my plumber. So he decided to live with me. He helped me renovate my first house that I ever bought. I bought it in kind of bad condition. I've never bought a house in good condition. I'm a fairly I'm a fairly cheap person, I guess is maybe how you describe it. Is it rather than like overextending myself for something, I'd rather buy something bad. Because anything that's bad that's yours, you eventually learn to love. Like, you can love expensive things from day one, but you usually learn to love... Oh, okay, oops. I find you learn to love cheap things. Eventually. Anyway, so, yeah, fixes uppers, says Chillis Bean 13. But yeah, even more interestingly, in the UK, housing, like, even if you don't fix it up, it still, like, gains value. It tends to be, at least. So anyway, coming all back into the 1 point from before to finish this one off. So yeah, he helped me in my first house. It went kind of badly. We stopped speaking for a few years because of it, and then eventually we got back in touch. And then a little bit after that, I moved to London, and I had a spare room, and he had a friend who wanted to use it. And then instead of his friend going in, he's like, "Ashley, could I move in? I kind of need. I work like 5 tube stops away from your house, and it'd be really cool." To be able to live so close to work, and the price you would like for it is very appealing to me. We said, yep, he moved in, we had a bad relationship, he did a lot of bad things, moved out, did a lot of bad things on the way out, and then after that, I would say I was bitter about, like, basically a lot of the threats he made on the way in and out, but I tried to olive branch it. I tried to be the bigger person, or whatever it is, but then he ignored me, and then after my mother died, he sent a message saying something actually like, I don't know, he was actually sorry about it or whatever. Like he seemed fairly chill about the whole thing. But then the next time I invited him to something, he ghosted me on it. So that is the relationship I have with my plumber. Very sad. Sorry about it. I don't believe he's found the love of his life yet. But one day he will, and one day they won't even have to do it on their friend's sofa. And they won't even have to steal his cables while they're doing it. Anyway, speaking of cables, they need a noxious gas releasing block that floats in Minecraft. It would make perfect sense. You know, they totally should have that. You're right. Let's petition Minecraft to add it. As a victim of the internet's raw sewage, I largely agree. There needs to be more regulation online, Bailio. I don't think it's regulation, though. I think this is the... If you were thrown into a random room with 5 strangers from your same language group on the internet, you would hate most of those people. The truth is that we're really nice around people we know and can trust, etc. But we're not actually, like, I don't know. I think that human beings, the things that make us nice are reputation and respect and all these things which genuinely don't exist. Also, bro, trauma jumped on the YouTube chat. You know what? So first of all, I don't know if I like the term trauma dump, but if you actually want a trauma dump, yeah, I feel like I'm not like a big trauma dumper person. I feel like it's a useful thing to do for some people. I don't think it is for me. I feel bad for the even if I tell you about like factual renditions of what happened, I'm like, oh man, I'm sure he feels bad about it now. I'm sure he feels bad about, you know, stealing his ex-girlfriend's car, saying that I could drive it, and then trying to charge me for his ex-girlfriend's car rental. I'm sure he feels bad about that stuff. You know, but then, you know, I'm sure he would find it even to be a mischaracterization. And so I feel like I'm not a big believer in the idea of like, let's dump some bad things about someone. Obviously, you can dump some bad things just happening to you, like, oh yeah, I was at the store. Referring to him as my plumber makes him sound like a secret gay boyfriend. Why does he have to be a secret gay boyfriend? Why can't he be a straight boyfriend? That's so rude of you, to assume that just because there's 2 men in a relationship that it's gay. There is a fun movement. This is just an aside. Just while we're here. I don't want to dive into it, because it might offend some people. But one of my favorite things on the internet was the idea of, it's like a real discussion about, like, can you be a lesbian and have he/him pronouns? And I'm beyond fascinated by it. If you ever want to have a good time. I don't know if it's still going on right now. But, also, hey dude, I finished watching your driving mock test from, that you did about a year ago. How are you doing with driving a manual in the UK now, a year later? So just to be clear there, right? Like I feel like I'm glad a lot of people enjoy that video. I've had like actual people from my like random personal life be like, hey, look, it's Andrew. Yeah, the actual thing about that, right, was I think that no one drives to driving test standards. And I think that is something that most people would actually agree. But that's what makes the video funny, is if you don't acknowledge that. I thought it was pretty good. You know, outside of the the major failures or whatever. Because I think what's interesting, right, is if you look at someone driving and you weren't to see the breakdowns from some instructor, you wouldn't actually spot all the ways it's wrong. And so what's crazy to me is we have... I think there are two things in life that are provably silly. I think every time people try to learn a language, the proof of the fact that they're not really learning the language comes up from the fact that, you know, like, the number of people who try to learn a language on Duolingo and then can't speak the language is so shockingly high. It's like, why do we even pretend that Duolingo works? Who are we helping besides, you know, Duolingo at that point? By the way, I'm still picking up honeycomb, and I'm still gonna sit in here doing precisely that for just a little bit longer. Also, how did I end up with 2 honeycomb? There was so much. Whatever. It's okay. Look at this. I've got 44. I need a lot more. I'm gonna have stacks of these and stacks of the blaze rods. But for now, I hope you all enjoyed today's episode of the Update Adventures Let's Play. And if you want to see more of them, then subscribe. Wait, did I just call this a Let's Play? Ah, it's a Let's Play now. I decide what's a Let's Play. Have a good one, everyone. And I hope that you have a great tomorrow. Go check out today's video. Give it some love if you can. The best thing you could do for the YouTube algorithm is go to your homepage, specifically look for it, click on it, and then just watch it all the way through, if you can. So yeah, thank you for watching Let's Play episode 607.92. And I look forward to seeing you for Let's Play episode 607.96. Goodbye. I'm gonna go chill out on the sofa. I've got 3 episodes left of the TV show I've been watching, so I've got to decide myself emotionally if I'll, like, try to split them up, like watch one now, one tomorrow, one the day after, or if I should just binge them 3 in a row. I'll probably do the second one. Bye. And also, thank you to the new members today, and thank you for us getting... we're only 18 away from bathing in Doritos now. It's gonna be a lot of fun. See you on Sunday or Monday. Bye. Binge like a normal person.